All right, we're live. Welcome back to the Hangar Deck. It is a Friday night. We're on YouTube Live, uh, streaming YouTube Live. I've got the link up up on Facebook, on Chief Cass's page, and on the Hangar Deck's Facebook page. So it took me a while. If you're following the Facebook page, then you've seen that. Oh yeah, Pete's going on 5:30. Oh, Pete's going on 5:35. Pete's going on 5:45. Yeah. So when you don't do this for a long time, this is what happens. You have technology problems, and the mixer channels are all dusty, and I gotta dust this stuff off, man. So, but tonight's a usually the show we bring people on and we talk about airplanes or we talk about times, specific times in history. We might do a little break and discuss the details of airplanes, but and we're going to do that tonight. But our friend, our longtime friend, who was on the show in the very beginning, Mr. Brad Hayes, is with us. And if you've been following our links on Facebook, it's really discouraging to see the mess going on out in Hawaii. And I call it a mess because if you're a veteran or you're an aviation enthusiast or you're a history buff, this is something really just horrible.
Depressing. Yeah.
But welcome back on our show, Brad. Just a disclaimer before we get going here, guys. Um, this is not the news. This is opinions, and we've got a lot of them tonight. So if you want to weigh in on your opinion, I'm sitting there with the YouTube live chat box up. So go ahead and drop me a chat, and we'll talk about your question with Brad. But I'm going to hand it over to Brad, and I think it's a 6 hour difference, right, Brad?
Yeah, time on deck out here is looks like 1300 or 1 o'clock local in Honolulu. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So so I'll just break right into it, Brad. Why don't you give us a breakdown of the last couple of weeks, and if you can
So
come from the
yeah,
beginning, the floor is yours,
Roger.
buddy.
Thank you. So I guess the timeline in this whole mess is kind of what to remember. And so right after the Centennial Naval Aviation 2011, we had put a business plan together for the Air Museum to occupy a quarter of one of the large World War II hangars and the area around it, landscaping and the grass and other things like that around it, where we could put the entire collection inside and partially outside, and be a world-class naval aviation museum out here in Hawaii for telling the story of naval aviation here aboard Barbers Point Naval Air Station and naval aviation in Hawaii in general. And state of Hawaii, we wanted to get the buildings nominated on the National Register, but they ended up, the state of Hawaii, the owners of the buildings declined participating because they felt that if they helped out and the buildings were nominated and designated National Historic Landmarks, they wouldn't be able to do anything with the buildings. That's not the case, but they didn't. It was a fear by one or two people that were not educated over at the airport station, state of Hawaii, Department of Transportation. So in Hawaii, we call it the Department of Transportation, and then they have boats and harbors, highways, and airports. We come under airports, and then each island has its own. It's a central system, much like Russia, and everything is controlled from a central office on some floor of the Inter-Island Terminal Building at Honolulu International Airport, which is now actually Daniel K. Inouye Airport. So we are at Barbers Point. It's called Kalailoa now. And in 2012, um, they built some T hangars. So they started construction on some T hangars on the ramp out here at Barbers Point, and they needed to make a very long water and sewage pipeline. And to do that, they had to cut into the concrete that was the Air Museum's permitted leased area. So they told the Air Museum, we need to move you and they meaning the Airports Division, State of Hawaii. We need to move you guys, and we're going to put you in another spot. And this is actually corroborated when you look at the dates on Google Earth. You can see the pictures of where we are and where the museum birds were moved. So in 2012, state tells us they need to move the museum's birds, and that we weren't going to worry about rent or lease or anything until we get the construction done and you in a new spot and a new lease for you guys. We still retained a lease, or what they call a revocable permit, which is a 30-day revocable permit on our ready room, and where we do maintenance on the ASC gear, the aviation support equipment, tugs, tractors, that kind of thing. So in 2012, they cancel our parking permit and our revocable permit for parking in the Big Birds out here on the tarmac. They moved us. Then they told us that they had a new area for us, and then it turned out that it was the National Guard's, the Hawaii Army National Guard's aviation facility that was going and being planned for that one spot. So the guard went high and right, and they were like, and we were like, don't worry about it. We're not moving there. That's crazy. We're not interfering with that. No way. And then we went back to the airport division, and we were like, hey, this is the guards area. Did you know about this? And they did. So they basically moved us into a spot that, or they were gonna move us into a spot and lease us for that on a 30-day revocable permit. Again, kind of deceptively. It was programmed to be the National Guard's aviation annex to Wheeler Army Airfield, Chinooks and H-60s. So 2012 to now, we've had really no problem. We've kind of been operating in the exact same spot we were in the very first place. And they're saying that we are parked outside our authorized area. So we had a letter, September 17th, we got a revocation letter from the State of Hawaii Department of Transportation Airports Division, signed by Ross Higashi and initially, I think, Roy Sakata, who's the Oahu district's manager. Oahu has 3 airports: Honolulu, Barbers Point, Kalaeloa, and Gillingham Airfield on the North Shore. So he's responsible for this place. So Roy Sakata signed that piece of paper, I think, and I think we sent you guys a copy of that letter. So in the letter, they cite 3 contention points, and those were their reasons for eviction. And the reasons for eviction of the Air Museum were lack of insurance, lack of we had some environmental violations by the state airport environmental folks, drips and stains underneath some of the parking stalls for the military vehicles and some of the tugs and tractors. Got that mitigated, got that closed out, clean bill of health again. So insurance, we've always carried insurance. We've always carried insurance. We have a record of carrying insurance the entire time we've been on this airport since it was a naval air station, because we had to get a Navy facility license when it was still Barbers Point Naval Air Station 6 months before base closure in 1999, all the way back then. So we've had insurance the whole way. So 3 contention points: insurance, environmental, mitigated, and the other one was we were parked outside our authorized space, and therefore we were being evicted. So when we look at the precedence of this, if we were not had our lease canceled for digging this trench that the state dug in 2012, we would have a lease. We'd still be here. In fact, when it happened, we were like, hey, our birds have wheels. We can tow them and move them somewhere else. And why don't we just keep the lease intact? Oh, no, it's procedure. We have to have that canceled. And we were verbally assured that we would get a new lease when they were done with all this stuff back in 2012. Well, it never happened. So we were an autopilot, and we're not the ones that make up the leases, or we're not the ones that, decide where the tie downs are and whatever. Now, that's the Airports Division, State of Hawaii, the government here. And so that's where it's at. Museum's evicted. Current status of the aircraft are as such. The U.S. Navy and the National Museum of Naval Aviation, the Naval History Heritage Command, have given us somewhat of a top cover in the form of no state official, no state agency can impound United States Navy federal assets, which whether they're flying or not, these ones out here are federal DoD owned assets. So they
Ooh-yah,
don't get to
Navy.
tow them.
Ooh-yah.
Oh yeah. So they don't get to tow them. Supposedly, they don't get to touch them in the case of the big airplanes or enter them. It's kind of almost like sovereign territory, and that's just the birds. So, but the museum organization is not on the airport. We have been told that no tours, no support operations. The only time we're allowed on the airport is if we're signed in at the tower building. Now, we're in a Part 91 airport. It is a public airport. So it doesn't have what's called air Part 139, which is typically, air carrier 121s, 135 operations typically have Part 139 security measures in play on their airport. But over here, they're pretending to be Part 139. So even though there is nothing here, we don't have ramp badges and we don't have licenses and safety inspection stickers for the vehicles or carry insurance on our golf carts to $2 million or things like that. We are not allowed on the airport unless we are signed in and escorted by a current tenant. So that could be anyone on the airport. And we're only here to remove our gear, property, whatnot. So the state of Hawaii sent a letter to each of the commands on the side of the airplanes. So if you had an H60 that said HSL 37, or if you had a H3 Sea King that said PMRF, certified letters went out to those two commands saying, "Hey, come and get your aircraft."
What?
And yeah, it was corny. So Lenore Taylor and Ben Christie over at Quantico, the museum there, they got letters from the they got in turn notified by the commands. Hey, these guys are asking for these aircraft, and these aren't ours, and they're not on our books, and those are your birds. So that'll get cleared up. But it was kind of funny how they just it was almost like a little bit of a defamation. They didn't care. They were just doing some pseudo research by going out, taking pictures of the airplanes, and then doing a little bit of internet sleuthing to figure out what these numbers and letters on the sides of the birds meant, and that's who they contacted. So all the birds we have are all
Morons.
national. Yeah, it's moron fest.
They're
There's no way to.
morons.
Yeah, shoot it. Oh God, I could go on for hours, but the Navy birds are okay, but we do have a DC-8. We just got an HC-130.
And to
It
interrupt
is.
you just for a second, Brad, I've got your website now up live, and it's
Oh,
still up. The museum website's
oh yeah.
still up. I love that you kept it going. And let's see, the DC-8. I'll just pull it up for our audience. Yeah, yeah, it's that's a massive airplane.
Yeah, I don't, and I'm not into the scrapping airplane business. And I personally am not going to scrap any airplane out here. I've told the Navy that I'll chain myself to these things if that's what it comes down to. But I've personally got 20 years of my life invested in working on these aircraft and putting everything back in the cockpits, and even hangar deck zone Jesse has helped out here. So I I don't really, the real solution to this is having stow the egos over at the airports division and just renew the damn lease. But I think what's happening here is like a lot of airports, when you put an accountant in charge of an airport with no aviation operation experience,
Right.
no licenses, no certificates, no airmen, no nothing, no medical. You just take an accountant and think that that guy can run an airport. It's not going to happen for so many reasons, but I think at the most basic level, that person is not passionate about aviation. And most people that are passionate about aviation, they typically are, nostalgic about the history, or they have at minimum a respect for it. And when I went and met with the director, he was more black and white, square footages, numbers, visitor count. I mean, it was strictly just the business of it. And this is not a tourist attraction. If you want tourism, go to Fort Island, go to Pearl Harbor, because that's where they all go. If you want to learn something about Naval Air Station Barbers Point, then this is where you're going to come.
Well, yeah,
and
it's a
for
living
centuries.
museum. It's a
It is a living museum.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you've got a lot of groups that come out there, and I don't know if this idiot over at the tower understands that. It sounds like he's not personable at all. Um,
He's a
or
nice
doesn't.
man.
Yeah. Well,
He's a nice guy, when you talk to him. I mean, but it's not, it's not a matter of being nice. This is a respect level. We have had so many shipmates killed, injured, and missing or body not recovered, taken off out of here at this airport from its inception back in 42 to now. And even next door with Eva Field, which is actually incidentally part of Naval Air Station Barbers Point's footprint because they assimilated it in 47. So Eva Field, four Marines were killed there on December 7th. And people don't even care about that, because they've diced and sliced up that property for all these different purposes and stuff.
right.
So, like no one cares, man. And it seems like Hawaii. You guys watch the news. When you look at Hawaii, I think we're up near Puerto Rico on the islander mentality level.
Yeah.
And we're definitely corrupt. Oh my God, are we corrupt? Maybe Guam is next to us in the corrupt level.
Yeah.
Like so. I don't. I mean, and when I mean corrupt, I mean if you're going to be deceptive and lie to a museum director and the board of directors for the museum and tell them, hey, we're going to move you here, we're going to move you there, and then they come up with, frankly, I'll use the word chicken shit for the three things that they're evicting us for all of a sudden 20 years down the road here. I think that there's probably someone that wants this land, this ramp that we're on. There's a
Oh, come
business
on.
that's
Of
ready to
course.
pull triggers, right? Some aviation operation that's dangling a sweet ass big carrot has got to be one in this one spot.
Well, how
They
long's
alluded to it.
how long's the
Go ahead.
runway?
We have three runways, 8,700 feet.
Yeah.
But here's our dynamic: we have no infrastructure. We don't have like fuel tanks. We have a 30,000-gallon jet fuel tank. We have a 10,000-gallon avgas tank, one FBO, and they use fuel trucks to replenish those tanks, and they use fuel trucks to run fuel out to the transient C-17s and C-130s. And the meat and potato of the FBO here is catering to those large transient military traffic that's coming through because the bases, Conway Bay is closed on the weekend, and Hickam, the parking out there is tight. So as far as like gas, number one, just for jet fuel, we don't have tanks on the airfield, and they're not like for public use or anything. It's not for the airport. It is for the FBO. So the tanks that we do are just above ground. The standard tubular looking type of stand above ground tanks, and you can see those on Google Earth.
Yeah.
That's what those are for. And our dynamic for our airport, we're not part of the community, and that's in a couple of different levels. They have built homes all the way up to the base perimeter. In fact, the old base housing was taken over by a private firm and given to them in some land deal or swap, and they rent the homes out. So those residential homes are still in base, and then we've got the stuff that's right outside the base perimeter. So they're on three corners of the base. It's all homes, and they're all new people. These aren't people that grew up with airplane noise. These are brand new blue collar homes and Hawaiian Homelands homes. And so when you talk to the neighborhood boards and you say, hey, we're going to put a Part 121 scheduled air carrier in here, or we're going to fly Part 135 air cargo operations out of Barbers Point. First, you don't have just the logistics. There's no infrastructure there for that. We don't have a terminal to do regional jets or 737s. And in Hawaii, the only thing that makes money is a 717 or a 737 for the amount of people it has to haul and for the amount of cost that it takes to get that airplane in the air and maintain it every day. The only money maker is a 73 or a 71. So RJs don't make money here. So take RJs out of the equation. That leaves your 737s and 717. And that's if a company wanted to come here and fly out of here. So they think on the airports division side that they're going to make this place a Part 139 airport with all the gates, guards, guns, ID cards, cameras, everything else, and all the security measures, fencing, all this extra cost. And right now, they cannot even afford to like cut the grass. They've got four guys to take care of this giant naval air station airport, and they can't even cut the grass. When it rains here, the weeds are 5 feet high already. So the fence line looks like shit, for the businesses that are here,
Right.
and the businesses are here are like flight schools. That's private airplanes and flight schools are what here. Maybe the utility helicopter here and there, and then we have these transient military birds. Like I'm sitting right here on the ramp right now, and I'm looking at a couple of C-17s. One's from Stewart, one's from March Riverside. They're National Guard birds, and then there's an MC-130 combat talent, I think they call those things, the ones
Yeah.
that support. So there's one of those parked out here, and then there's one lone C-118. It's the military version of the DC-6 that's still flying out here. And that's it. And then there's the Air Museum airplanes. The Coast Guard's got 4 Hercs on the other side and 4 Dauphines, and that's what's here on the airport. That is it. That's it. We maybe 17 aircraft parked on tie downs. We have air traffic control, and that goes from 06 to 22:30 every night. And then we've got a 24-hour crash fire. So the cost for our airport is crash fire and ATC. And those 4 guys that cut the grass and the manager here on deck, who really isn't a manager like how you guys have it in mainland. Here, he's like a site supervisor. I don't know how to, because you can't go to him for like a decision on something, or you can't go to him for, getting some piece of paper solved. It's all done at the main central command over there at Honolulu International. So, but that's where we're at. So we're evicted. We can't come on the airport unless you are, employed by someone else like I am, but we don't have. There's no all museum function has stopped. Basically, the birds I think are safe. They're going to get chained down with the TD1 tie down chains from the flight decks, and then we'll end up probably pulling the tow bars off the birds so that they cannot be moved. The T3 and the C-130 have specific tow bars.
Yep.
And park them maybe a little closer together, but that's about it. There's no way.
This happened so fast. This happened so fast.
Yeah, it happened very fast.
It was like I don't know when I first saw the story. It was like what, last week before?
Last week Thursday, right before Veterans Day.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. Right before Veterans Day, I see the story, and then I saw you on the local news.
Yeah, crazy. And we had all 3, and we're yesterday's news too. Believe me. I mean, as far as like, the veteran outpour of disgust, it happened through Monday, Tuesday, but it's waning now. And we're yesterday's news, and we're not in the news cycle, right? So unless we had someone out here with a chop saw chopping up Navy airplane, they'd love to get a camera out here and watch that, because they're all about tragedy and they're all about controversy.
Oh yeah, it's the
that's how you get on the news.
The fake news. Yeah, it's whatever.
It's totally fake news. It's totally fake news.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here under the tail of the C-130 for shame, in my car, giving you a radio interview, and literally that's where we're at. It isn't. So what can be done at this point? So we contacted every elected official, and we have one elected official that is a presidential candidate, Tulsi Gabbard. Her office actually called back out of all of the ones that we've called, and I would hope this is something that she would want to jump on because of the just the pure subject matter of it.
Sure.
A museum, a military museum that's in your state, 2 minutes from your dad's house, is getting shit canned, evicted off of an airport that's highly historic in national history.
Well, let's just go through the numbers real quick for everybody listening. Like, okay, we know how many airplanes are there. We know that everybody is strictly a volunteer out there, and they do this out of the passion for aviation, passion for history, and then your docents, the guys that give the tours, they're giving their time up because they want to educate. and that's a lot of what you do, right? So how many groups have you had? Let's just say in the last year.
I couldn't give you an exact number. I think per week we do probably one or two groups. We are definitely off the beaten path. Like I said, we're not at Pearl Harbor. The number has increased though because of the resort next door. So as the resort was built, Aulani, Disney Aulani, and the Marriott and Atlantis is the next hotel that's going up on the Catalina
Ah,
Resort
dude,
next door. So
dude,
we,
dude. Listen to what you're
yeah,
saying. Listen
yeah,
to what you're saying.
yeah,
Disney is there. Atlantis is there.
right.
You guys are targeted for termination.
Well, they're next door in another section of coastline, meaning next door they're down the coast, and you would think, yeah, to a point there would be some, but no, I don't know. Yeah, when we say Disney, you're like, oh yeah, major corporate, but while they might want to have an aviation operation here, they don't.
But what if they don't care about the airport? They just care about the property. You're talking about
Well,
Hawaii, right?
yeah. So the right, yeah. So the airport itself is a state reliever airport. They'll never give this up, but they will give up land on the airport to non-aeronautical. So to give you an example of how the state of Hawaii, and God, I hate using the word state of Hawaii because the state of Hawaii, when you think about it, is me. It's every other person that's living here in the state of Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
So okay, is the government I'm talking about? Well, the government of servants, public officials that we put in the job to take care of our stuff. It's not them. It is a handful, and maybe in the case of this airport, probably about five, six people tops, 5 or 6 people tops, decision makers. None of them aviators. None of them with any kind of investment in the airport, whether personal or whether past or historical, anything. And they're the ones deciding what's happening here with a black and white view of it, numbers, square footage, things like that. Cultural resource wise, on this island, we have a few things. We have Pearl Harbor with the 4 attractions there. We have Diamond Head that you can go hike to get to the top. We have our beaches. We have the Polynesian Cultural Center. We have Jermaine's Luau. Uh, and God, that's it. Like that's what we got. Like, and there's also Dillingham Airfield with skydiving and um, uh, gliding. You can go on sailplane rides out there and stuff like that, and take aerobatic rides in airplane on the North Shore. And that's it. That's what you got on Oahu. That is it. But there's so much history here.
Right.
In fact, a Honda Jet is driving past me as we speak. Now, Honda Jet, they were telling us that, wow, that's interesting. Okay. So it might get noisy here real quick. I'll try to roll up my windows. But a
Nah, leave
Honda
the window
Jet's driving
down. I want to
past
hear
me.
that Honda Jet engine.
Yeah. So we were told that a Honda Jet operation wants to fly a bunch of these airplanes out of Kalailoa, which is this airport, and I'm thinking they might want to use this ramp. So it's interesting. I'm here with you on the phone right now, and a Honda Jet's taxiing in front of me.
Hey, I'm telling you,
So
Brad,
there's all these
anything
things.
is possible with that much land out in
Anything is
Hawaii.
possible.
Yep.
Right behind the Honda Jet, no kidding, are 3 SUVs with State of Hawaii stickers on them,
Are you kidding me?
driving in front. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I didn't make this up. I would take a picture if I could get off the line and take a picture for you. But following the Honda Jet is 3 SUVs with little blinky lights, and they all have State of Hawaii stickers, and they are following this little Honda Jet. And I
Hey,
gotta
so let's
wonder.
let's do this. So we got some airplane geeks out there. If you go on FlightAware and go out and check out Hawaii, pull some information off that aircraft,
Yes,
that Mode
nine
S.
one N91 Whiskey Sierra
No,
is
I mean,
what I'm
yeah,
thinking.
right. If the FlightAware has it has their Mode S up, you can definitely get information off the airplane, where it came
Yep.
from, and so on and so forth. So that's interesting. So they're
Interesting.
following the state vehicles are following the jet.
Literally following the jet, and they just rolled up and they're parking, like apparently like right, like kind of next to each other within plane's distance of the airplane.
So how far are you from there? You're about what, a couple
I'm
hundred
about
hundred
I'm
yards?
a couple hundred yards. Yeah, I'd say I'm probably about. My marine brain is saying 250 meters, maybe. Yeah.
250 meters, right? So you'll see the suits get off that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Kind
Yeah.
of creepy because we were told. I was called the other day and said, a buddy of mine down in Honolulu said, yeah, they're looking at putting a bunch of Honda jets out there at Kalailoa. And when we look at the military operations down here, they're parking C-17s with about maybe 40 feet between wingtips, and then there is an aspect to this where like a Honda jet operation would totally be within the realm of possibility of wanting our area and
Sure.
being ready to park. I mean, there's guys out there taking pictures. Wow, they're taking pictures of people getting out of the airplane, and
Are you serious?
interesting. Yeah, yeah. And then there's like another corporate jet rolling up right now too. And it's not like the mainland where we get a lot of this kind of traffic. So this is definitely unusual parking today. There's another airplane coming in that's going to park next to that Honda jet, and it's a big airplane, like a Gulfstream or something. And
Wow.
that
So
one is,
for our guys out and gals out there, watching this, if you're just dialing in, I'm in YouTube Live with Brad Hayes from the Naval Air Museum, Barbers Point, and they have
907 Whiskey Sierra. So it's the same company. Because the Honda jet has one N191 Whiskey Sierra. This other airplane is N907 Whiskey Sierra. So it's definitely
hit that
the
number
same
again.
people.
And what?
The other airplane is 907 Whiskey Sierra, and then the Honda jet one is 191 Whiskey
So
Sierra.
November 907 Whiskey Sierra.
Yep, both of them with the same end numbers. And I was told in the meeting, it's getting commercially busier out there at Barbers Point, but they won't say who wants what, and they won't say what. And it would torque me to to find out that someone with a corporate jet operation would come in and displace a naval air museum,
Hey Brad,
the only one of its kind.
is that jet got green stripes underneath it?
Yeah, the big one that just taxied up next to the Honda Jet is the
Uh,
907 Whiskey Sierra. That's the green and white one. Yeah,
okay, I've got it.
yeah.
I've got it here. I'm going to put it up on our feed. It is definitely a bombardier. Um, so I'm bringing it in now. So that's the airplane that is sitting in the ramp right now at Barbers Point.
Just pulled up.
It is it is definitely a corporate jet, and
Yeah,
I've got some information. Oh,
yeah. The
there's an interior on it. it's a it's a charter.
beautiful airplane.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's a
beautiful
Pinnacle
airplane.
Aviation charter, so it's a charter jet from Pinnacle, and it's got some interior shots here too that are pretty darn nice. Um, so yeah, somebody's chartered that jet. The number registration number on the other one? November what?
It looks like 191 Whiskey Sierra. I'll go double check here. If I can, I'm gonna drive
Oh
over and
yeah, it's
take
a
a look
Honda
at it.
jet. It's a Honda. I've got it. Does it have an orange tail on the
Yeah.
back?
It is white with the goofy little. Yeah, it's got an orange pinstripe up on the tail. Yeah, 191 Whiskey Sierra. Yeah.
Yep, 191 Whiskey Sierra. I've got that one too. It's got a
Yeah.
blue swag going from the tail all the way to the nose
Yeah.
with an orange piece on it. It's a Honda Jet Elite.
Whole bunch of local looking guys that are walking to the airplane. So these are state officials that have been given. They're bowing. So these are Japanese guys.
Yep, there you go. They're
Yeah.
Japanese. Okay, so you want to know that airplane is registered to the Japan Aviation Academy. Okay,
Interesting. A
it's
native. These guys are all from Japan.
yep, they're Japanese. They're coming in to look at your airport and get rid of the.
Buy it up.
Yep.
Buy it up. They're all bowing to each other.
Wow.
That's pretty hilarious.
Wow, this is crazy,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
We're live YouTube and they're talking about these Japanese are at
Reinvading us.
in Hawaii again. So
Yeah, so
so close
there's
to
like
December
they're
7th.
all wearing aloha shirts and yeah, we all grow up with the Japanese out here. We all grow up with the Japanese customs. I mean, it's just how we grow up. But
Yeah.
um, I would be kind of torqued that maybe something like this is what would displace naval aviation, the legacy in Hawaii. That would actually really bother me on so many levels because this isn't something permanent. This is a carrot to the state of Hawaii, and there's all kinds of these state of Hawaii official vehicles out here with blinky lights pulling up to the airplanes. And I mean, literally, I'm on the phone with Hangar Deck and these guys. And so this rumor, this tidbit of intel that was potentially, um, an impetuous. I mean, none of this is a coincidence. I found it in life. Not
Uh-oh.
too many
I
things are
just found something.
coincidences.
Brad, I just found something. November 191 Whiskey Sierra is got a splash. They call it, this airplane's got its own YouTube video. Let's see what this has got going on here. Because
Oh,
it's a, it says Honda Jet White Wing 681 delivery flight way to Hawaii. Wing Spirit. Wing Spirit and
Wing
JAA
Spirit.
first Honda Jet delivery flight
That's such a
landed
Japanese name too. It's such a bad translation. Japanese business name.
May
That's
27th,
classic.
2019, that airplane. Uh-oh, here we go. Wing Spirit Incorporated and Japan Aviation Academy first Honda Jet delivery flight. Somebody in Hawaii has bought themselves a Honda Jet.
Yeah, and
Uh,
there's supposed to be 12 of them operating between
yeah.
islands, hauling like luxury passengers, like 7 people
Wow.
in inter island luxury style.
Well,
So,
that's what it looks like. Bank of Utah trustee Honda Jet. The Bank of Utah owns the jet.
mm, wow,
So,
interesting.
wow.
So this is probably what's displaced the museum. Now, all these people have piled into these state vehicles, these SUVs. There's a minivan and 2 SUVs with state decals. And if they go over to the Air Museum area, that would probably be a damn good indicator that they're touring the land out here. They're coming to look at this airport. One of the
Yeah.
guys here in the airport just drove up and
Well,
he was in a
this is
pickup truck
interesting.
and
You're sitting on the ramp and you're witnessing right now,
watching this happen in front of my eyes. Yeah.
and it all
Yeah.
happened so fast. Like within a week and a half,
But
you
yet we're being evicted for now. And remember, we're getting evicted for. So when you look at the politics of what I'm witnessing in front of me, and I don't know if this is a for sure thing, but when I look at the politics of all of this, um, it's not a coincidence. So all the cars are driving off, and they're going to go on their little ramp tour, I guess. And
So I
I
have a video of that airplane pulling into to its hangar in Japan, and
wow,
it's a welcome home Honda thing, and it's just wow,
man,
you know,
yeah, this is a trip.
interesting
God,
stuff as we are.
interesting. Nothing's a coincidence. Now remember, contrast this with um, uh, contrast all of this with the museum being evicted for lack of insurance. We got it. Environmental, clean bill of health.
Well,
Lack of
that's why it
parking.
just sounds, and they've got an accountant delivering the message to you. You know
And
how
yeah,
long has that
the
guy been in?
director is an accountant.
Yeah, how long has he been
Um,
the airport director?
oh, he's probably a couple years now, I think. But yeah, they're driving near the Air Museum areas and getting the fucking tour. Pardon my language, but
No, that's
yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter that. Oh yeah, they're definitely looking at our area. Wow, what a trip! So they drove over. They're behind the jet blast effector fence right now, and they're driving towards Hangar 111, which is the big hangar. It's the University of Hawaii's flight school hangar that's now defunct because they don't have any. They didn't support the flight school. It's kind of like
so there's a
the whole
flight
thing
school there.
wither on the vine.
Yeah, this is going to be a flight school.
There you go.
It just sounds like they need the ramp space, and
Yep.
they're probably going to
And this
pull a
is
lot
just
of these things in
these
there. They're
and
small
they're big
enough.
Japanese money, so they're probably ready to execute. These guys are moving along, and I bet you the state of Hawaii guys, in a scenario, let's war game this out. They would be the first guys to go. We're ready to execute. We have money. We are ready to execute as far as leases. When you get the Air Museum out of there, then you can call us,
Well,
we'll be
this
ready
is the
to.
real story. This is the real story. It's
Yeah.
you're getting replaced by a revenue generator.
Yes, that's what it's looking like.
They're going to
But they
infuse.
will never say it. They'll never admit it. But there's state of Hawaii government vehicles picking these private commercial people up in SUPs and taking them on a tour of the hangar here next to us and driving. They're in between Hangar 110 and 111 now, which is the two large World War II hangars. Um, Ironic how many. Yeah. Oh, they're getting the full tour. Yeah, they're just like a serpentine. They're just kind of
Oh,
getting the
so they're
tour here,
just going
driving
in and
through it.
out of the facility, and they're
Yeah, they're just driving by at 5 miles per hour, driving around the facilities and looking at the buildings and you know, it,
you'd
yeah,
have to agree though. You're to
yeah,
so okay. If it's going to happen soon, and the U.S. Navy Heritage Museum got involved with their airplanes, and you can't touch them. How long? What's going to be the disposition of this? This is crazy because you get some large aircraft. What are
wow.
they going to just chop them up?
Yeah. So my contract or what the Naval Air Museum signs for to allow uh, the we are a certified borrower, which is a lot of work and a lot of money to be a certified borrower to get U.S. Navy aircraft loaned to your museum. The headache isn't even describable as far as the paperwork you go through to do it, and also the money you have to raise to do it. And our agreement with the Navy is like anything. If you don't need it anymore and someone can't use it, then what will happen is you need to scrap the aircraft. So the P3 Alpha, P3 Charlie, um, H3, H3, C130, DC8, F4 Phantom, A4, 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 UH1, AH1 Whiskey, and CH53 all would get cut up. They would have to be because, and now remember, the other museum at Ford Island has everything that we have, with the exception of A4s or AA4 and the Navy version of the F4. We have a B model, which was converted to an N, so it's a Navy version. And these guys are, a revenue generator, probably getting on a slick carrot in front of everyone. But they won't say this. And I wish I could take pictures and show you this stuff, but yeah, they're heading back to me now, and they're going to go out the gate between the two large hangars out here and leave the airport.
Right. Go make their deal.
And they'll probably bring them back and put them in their airplane, and those airplanes will go back to Honolulu, and they'll get hauled off to their hotel or something like that. Or maybe they're just going to go straight to their hotel on the state taxpayers' dime in government vehicles.
Right.
So it is, like interesting. The state would never admit this, though. All they've ever told anyone in the news was that after repeated calls for compliance for insurance, no one ever um, went ahead and responded to the state of Hawaii's requests for um, insurance. And
Right.
that's not true. We actually had insurance, and we've got emails showing us that fact. So I sit here and I'm watching this literally happen in front of my eyes on the phone with Hangar Deck.
Yeah.
Amazed. I just,
Yeah.
what are the odds?
It's yeah. I know. What are the odds that this is gonna this is happening right now? Um, the next chapter. Eventually it looks like this is not going to stop. It's just going to go to the end. And
This is Japanese money. This is Japanese money, and Japanese money is usually backed when, like in the '80s, it tanked here in Hawaii, and there was a golf course up above us, up on the hill here at Mont Big Hill above Nuclear Station Barge Point, and that golf course project never uh, fruited. Yeah, and these guys they are they will only put money into things um, if they are assured of an incredible return. And they've got a drug deal going with the state of Hawaii. It's a revenue generation thing, which is fine. That's great. But there's so much space on this airport to do stuff with. And our area, we could shrink footprint to a point. Some of our military vehicles are on loan. We can get those back, turn those back in. But they definitely, our areas of operation would be affected by these guys. I mean, they're definitely driving around the areas and stuff that we use, and they're getting the full court. But these are foreigners. Like again, there should be a moral factor here that says, wait a minute, all right, enough already. Like our heritage is our heritage. That's untouchable. You guys want to do something with your jets? Let's find you a place to do it. Let's make some money from you. Let's do some freedom. Let's do some capitalism. But this money will leave the state of Hawaii and it'll go back to Japan in the end of the story. And at the end of the day, there's money that's leaving the United States and going. I would dare say that if President Trump was watching this, I'm not leaning left or right, but the way that guy thinks and the way that guy operates, I would dare say that the president would be kind of disappointed in how this was handled.
Yeah.
As far as like, wait a minute, we're getting foreign money, and we're going to go ahead and displace I guess if HondaJet wanted to come and rent land down in Pearl Harbor, in the Arizona, that's okay too. I mean, literally. I mean, like what is the difference? I mean, okay, well, that's where guys were killed. Well, guys were killed out here too. So,
Yeah.
the whole argument could be made that there is a moral imperative of some things that should be sacred, and I think that the Naval Air Museum at Barbers Point is one of those things. So yesterday we were donated flight gear from a Navy F6F and it was an F6F 5N night fighter pilot, and that guy was here 2 years ago on a bucket list tour, and the daughters brought him out, and he wanted to see NAS Barbers Point one last time. So we took him out on the ramp tour in a military vehicle, gave him the tour, took him to his old hangar, took him to his old ramp, and he was here doing workups to go on to USS Enterprise in the Western Pacific in 1944-45, and that's where
right.
And that's where that so. But he brought all his flight gear. I couldn't believe. He had his May West.
Oh wow.
He had all his stuff, man. It was so cool, and donated all that. But he said the highlight of his bucket list tour was coming to this museum and getting out here on this air station.
What when I don't know if you're in this kind of stage, this planning stage yet, but don't you have a lot of artifacts inside the hangar?
Yes.
So there is the Pearl Harbor group, right?
Yeah. So the Pearl Harbor guys at Ford Island they were the Pacific Aviation Museum. Now they are the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum. They've changed names, I think, about 4 or 5 times to, be relevant, I guess, to whatever it is they're trying to do. And
sense a little jealousy there.
Yeah. I mean, we've always been like we're Hawaii Museum of Flying to be generic, but we do business as Naval Air Museum Barbers Point. Always have for a long time because it's mission specific. And I think with the new director over at Pearl Harbor, Alyssa, she's trying to get it more World War II central. Like, she wants to focus more on World War II in the role. So there's that. But those guys at Pearl are they are, we could transfer assets to them, but it doesn't tell Barbers Point's story. And I think what we're doing right now is evacuating and protecting the artifacts we do have, and storing them. And then we have the, we've got so much flight gear, and I mean, just really neat stuff. A lot of pictures, and a lot of donated, uh, FMERA paperwork and uniform items and things like that. That stuff is all being evacuated. The And just to protect it so that we can hopefully resolve this and fall back in. Now, the only way I'm going to resolve this is if the elected officials are illuminated as to what exactly is coming out here. Because they told the lieutenant governor when he asked, "Are you guys developing the area? Is that why you need these? Is that why you need these? Um, um, like, is that why the museum's getting evicted?" And they told him no. And so maybe not development, but maybe a new operation that's coming in, that's doing their thing. So all these people got out of their little car and they're back over, dropped off at their jets again, and taking pictures like good Japanese tourists always
Oh,
do.
they're getting back on the planes.
I think they're getting back on the airplanes to get out of here. Yeah, while we're on the phone, that's how fast. But I mean, imagine someone that, um, imagine like having the money to just come out and spend the money to fly a Bombardier out and a Honda jet, and then at the same time have um, the money to wield something like that for when you could just drive. Come on, we're 20 minutes from Barbers Point. You're gonna really fly out here in a jet. So maybe they want to see what it would be like to operate their operation on the airport. How it would be to fly in, and where you would come and land and taxi up, and what it's like to operate out here and everything else. And so that's part of the aspect of making a field visit like that. But
Sure.
yeah, they're back at their airplane and they'll probably get back in, and it is what it is, and they all look excited. They're all bowing at each other. Dude, it's funny. It's
Are
like
they
going to
still?
Tokyo.
They're still bowing.
Yeah, when they exchange uh, cards and stuff, when they greet people, it's a natural thing to just kind of bow. I mean, we do it when we're around them. We grew up with that kind of stuff out here in Hawaii, but
Right.
it's
Right.
kind of funny though. But yeah, definitely, there's no coincidence that what's going on in front of me right now with you on the phone is part of this eviction of the Air Museum. C-130, 2P3s, all the and we're only doing modern history, dude. We don't even have a Hellcat. We don't have a TBM. We had possibly almost got a TBM years ago when we had the business plan going for being in a quarter of Hangar 111, or excuse me, 110, the tower next to the hangar next to the tower out here, and be the world class trophy operation, for this airport. But there's no innovativeness in the management here. There's certainly no nostalgia or respect for the history and the heritage of the place. And they basically got this whole operation from the Navy through the, I think, Department of Interior. And there might be a clause in the deed that says, the Navy could walk back in on this, or the U.S. military could walk back in on this in time of emergency or war,
Right.
and use the place. But past that, I don't know enough about the airport. What the Air Museum needs is it needs a senior aviator to replace this Marine corporal, and we need a statesman that would be the face of the Air Museum moving on. And then as far as the elected officials, they need to be contacted. We have from Hawaii, we have Tulsi Gabbard, and supposedly her office has been calling us back. Ed Case, after I called them 2 times this morning in Washington, Ed Case's office called back and said, I need to get in touch with the local office, and then I'll call you once I've got the brief from them so that we're on the same sheet of paper and I'm educated enough to talk about whatever. I'm like, great, okay. And I haven't heard from them all day. Time on deck right now is 1400.
Right.
So, yeah, these guys are all getting back in their Bombardier, the green one, 907 Whiskey Sierra, and the little Honda jet, and they're out of here.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
interesting.
So
Yeah, and so
I
Ed
bet you
Case, Tulsi Gabbard.
the Bombardier had U.S. Bank people on it, and
Yeah, there's one white guy with him wearing a button, like a tie. He's wearing a tie and a Ivy League collared shirt,
There-
button collared shirt, and
There's your banker.
really good looking Japanese lady in a nice white linen business suit skirt thing, and your corporate jets and the red carpets and next to the airplanes and that kind of thing. And this is this has got to be what this is about. But yet they're evicting us for no insurance, which we have, environmental, which is mitigated, and space we're not in because we got moved back in 2012 and they never released us.
Yeah.
But now it's an emergency and they got to get rid of us. So yeah, man. Oh, God, I can't
I'm
believe
not happy about the whole thing either.
it's disgusting.
The veterans.
It's almost to a degree not patriotic. Like there is a point at which some things should be sacred, and I'm getting the feeling here that nothing is.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
interesting.
The times are changing. You know, but that's a whole nother discussion. So
Yeah, it is.
Brad, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you got petitions that people can sign. What kind of
Yes.
efforts would you like us to support you with? How
Really
can we
appreciate
help
this.
get the message out?
First off, I want to thank you and all the guys at Hangar Deck and all the people that have either signed the petition or the GoFundMe, donated money to the GoFundMe, and donated money to the other thing, the petition. So here's the deal with the petition. You can sign a petition if you go to change.org, and it's under Naval Air Museum Barbers Point. And if you search change.org, I'm sure they'll kick up our petition. Now, here's the deal with the petition. They will ask you if you want to help chip in and donate some money, but that money does not go to the Air Museum. It goes to boosting more ads for the petition. I had a gentleman donate $1,000 to change.org, and it didn't go to us. And he was kind of, he was bummed, but he wasn't like mad. But there's other people I know that kind of feel like deceived, and I don't blame them one bit. But at the end of the day, that change.org petition and the money that goes to it, if people donate that money, carries that petition out and makes it more visible so that you can see this petition, as far as the visibility of it and out there to the public's view. That petition is on change.org, and it's under Naval Air Museum Barbers Point. So if you want to donate to the boost money, that's okay. But if you want to directly donate to our legal fund, our defense fund, which is going to pay for the retainer of a lawyer, $5,000 to retain a lawyer that does tenant landlord law, because very few do tenants, most of them do landlords. And so in Hawaii, being finite resources of everything out here, it's very tough to find a tenant attorney, right? So the GoFundMe campaign has been started for direct donations to the Air Museum's, fight in that department. That is GoFundMe.com, and that is it'll be under Naval Air Museum Barbers Point or Save Naval Air Museum Barbers Point.
I'm putting it on Facebook right now. Save Naval Air Museum
Barbers Point.
Barbers Point.
Yep. And
All
then
right.
our Facebook is actually our communication medium for the latest and the greatest as far as what is happening. And what we just witnessed with the Honda Jet people and all that kind of stuff, we haven't, you won't see something like that up on the website, but you will see factual stuff, the stuff that we know is a guarantee, thing that it's a fact. So that's our Facebook page is again Naval Air Museum Barbers Point. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we are
Okay,
on the web at
just to let you know,
namdp.org.
I got the GoFundMe link. All
Oh,
right,
okay, perfect.
it's going right up right now. Boom, nice picture by the way in the video. And
Terrible picture.
so that's the GoFundMe link. Everyone, if you're listening, is up on the hangar deck. So go check out and donate a few bucks to the effort so we can get a lawyer out there. Or if you're a listener and you're a lawyer and you want to dedicate your services for free,
Yes,
please
exactly.
contact Brad and the guys out at the museum in Barbers Point, because they could use some help, any kind of litigation help, any kind of property law. Uh,
Yep,
they need some help. So
exactly.
dude, we it's been a long time. We need to get back
Yeah,
together again and talk about
we do.
airplanes. And let's you want to check in next week and give us an update. Absolutely. And we could just flood it and start getting the word out.
God bless you guys.
All right, buddy. Well,
We owe you, Pete.
no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. This
We
is
owe you, man.
I love doing this for you guys. This is something that means a lot to me. So, okay, buddy. We'll
Thanks, Pete.
yep, we'll talk to you soon. Okay,
Roger that. We'll see you later. Semper Fidelis.
you got it.